Did I get a little Irish on you there? Was that
Just a little bit. You know? But the thing I love the most is Bob when he says Donald J. Trump. Nobody insults Trump better than Bob, personally. What you get by his experience, I was on the Tonys, and for the play that I did, and Bob says he's going to introduce me, so I go, geez, that's fantastic, man. You know, Bob's one of my heroes. So we go to the show, I'm backstage, Bob comes out, and I have this arrangement of my hometown, and I'm thinking, this thing is going to kill everybody. There's not going to be a dry eye in the house or any living room in the United States when I'm done with this. I'm feeling really good and really confident, you know. So Bob comes out and he goes, fuck Donald Trump, Bruce Springsteen. It just fucked the whole thing up. I want to say, Bob, why did you do that? You can't come out after somebody says fuck Donald Trump. But anyway, I was...
Never meet Harry. Did you spend time with Harry Belafonte, Bruce?
Yeah, I was lucky in that I think Harry was interested in doing a concert at one time and got in touch with me, as I remember. And I went to his office in the city, and we met and talked just briefly about something we might do, and ended up having Harry come down to my house with his lovely wife Pam, who was here tonight, and I got to spend, So I got to spend the whole night, across the table from what to me felt like a living monument, and talked about everything from his activism in the '60s civil rights movement all the way on up to the State of the Nation. So, just an amazing man. It was really my pleasure to get to spend a little bit of time.
Stunning man. I had an occasion where he told me a story which I've never heard anywhere else. But Bobby Kennedy's a saint in Ireland. It's like the Kennedys or the royal, like the Holy Family. And anyway, so he said that when Dr. King, when he was announced at first as the Attorney General, they weren't happy because he wasn't yet convinced in the civil rights struggle that it would look well on Jack, his brother. And that he said that Dr. King was getting cross with them all as they were bitching about Bobby Kennedy, and he slams the table and he says, stop! I adjourned this meeting and we won't call it back until somebody's got one decent thing to say about Bobby Kennedy. And they all say, we can't give you one. He's very straight. He's not with us. This could be a serious problem to us. He said, no, I'm calling this meeting to adjournment. Bring me one good. Let me find out what it is. And he just give me one good thing. And they found a connection with his bishop. Bobby was religious, so some of the bishops from the south met with his bishop. And in the end, I think the line was from King, and that I learned from Harry was, he said, just give me one good thing about that soul, because that one thing is the door through which our movement will pass. And I'm wondering, what's the one good thing we're going to find here so people can get back to being neighbors and in a neighborhood and not such a divided America? And what's the door through which this present movement of social justice might pass that will get to people who were in your audience and feel alienated by a lot of us liberals, and they're looking, I would suggest, for a way back.
Oh, wow. I don't know, I warned everybody what the tour was going to be like so they didn't waste their money before they came in. So I figured I did my job, and it was every man for himself after that. But I know what you're saying, you know, it's certainly one of the most divisive times that I've lived through since, 1968, or the late 60s, I think, first of all, America, as I said when I was on the road, is a sacred argument. So it's not, people aren't supposed to be in agreement with each other all the time in the first place. It was born in disagreement. It's a blessed, sacred argument that you're supposed to be having every day with your fellow citizens and with your representatives. So that's just a part of the country. That's embedded in the country itself. The key to that is you have that argument while recognizing each other's common humanity and dignity. And, that is in short supply at the moment from obviously the top of our administration on down, but it's through that argument and through that recognition of your fellow citizens, your brothers and your sisters and your neighbors, that's where you find a common narrative. It's very difficult for a country to survive intact without a common story. It tells itself about itself. And so I think we're in a struggle for that today. I believe we're going to find that narrative, because I believe America renews itself. And, and basically, I come out on stage, I'm in the hearts and minds business, And so you change those in a group or one at a time, and I have to come out and act as though what I just said is absolutely real. And that's my job. That's what they pay me the big bucks for. And that's essential to maintaining not just the humanity in my art, but the humanity in my audience and my own humanity. So for better or worse, that's the way we gotta play it.
Yeah. And are we on the left? I grew up on the left, the Labour House. Are we on the left ready to move over to some degree and accept that we sometimes lose touch with working people who are out on the street and doing a day's job and who've been the subjects of your entire life over your years? And I just fear sometimes that on the left we've just lost a little bit of that, and that the accusations of elitism that are out there for people like me are not inaccurate, and I really think it's important. I mean, as you two, we're watching you, and we've toured the world together for Amnesty International. we are comrades. We are always your students. But in our band, I want our concerts to be a place where people, can meet, and a safe place for that sacred argument. And I know that's what you've done for most of your life. So has it cost you? Do you feel torn at all by thinking that there's people in this town that used to come and see my shows that don't now? Or have you made peace with that?
I don't know, I'm not sure. I think that, like I was just explaining, you have to do two things. One, there's the classic folk song, which side are you on? You do have to, you make your stand, and you follow your beliefs, and you have to have the faith in them that they will be explicable and understandable by your fellow citizens. And you have to believe that America is an argument and it's a compromise constantly, and that finding some sort of common ground is a possibility. You need the leaders, at the moment, I don't know, I'm not sure if I see anybody who has the capacity to come out and to speak to all the people in a way. No, I don't even really consider myself an activist. I'm sort of, I'm at best, I'm a little embarrassed to get this award tonight because I feel like at best I'm a concerned citizen, and what do? I sing my songs, I say a few things, and wish for the best, Help folks out a little bit here and a little bit there, there's so many people, you're more of an activist, there's so many people that do so much more than I do.
I mentioned that we followed you pretty much on everywhere, so Bruce could play an arena, you two, we must be able to play an arena. So if he plays the stadium and makes it figure out how to get intimacy with that, we must be able to figure it out, Edge. And Bruce has done it. We used to follow him around just finding out what Bruce had done. And then whatever he had accomplished, we would rob. And those operatic songs, Permission for the Opera, he's Italian. Okay, my dad's an opera singer, I can do that. But I remember Philadelphia, because there's a combination of, I'm not letting you away with the cinematic thing. I thought I found a fresh metaphor there. Tom Hanks gets an Oscar for playing HIV/AIDS sufferer who loses his life, and you get an Oscar for riding the streets of Philadelphia. Can you you were an AIDS activist years before I was, just want to say, and I don't say that easily.
That was just kind of a fluke, it really was, because Jonathan Demme called me up and said, I need a rock song for the movie I just made. And he told me a little bit about the film, and he sent me just the opening 2 minutes or so of it, I tried to write him a rock song, I just couldn't. So I went next door and I had a little synthesizer and a little drum machine, and in a couple of days I wrote the song. I didn't know if he'd like it or not. I sent it to him, and he roughed it into the film. And then I sent him the real version, and he threw that out and kept the rough version that I sent him, and then we won the Oscar, So it was really, one of those things. Well, people, if you do good things happen. So Jonathan Demme, who is deeply missed and was a wonderful, wonderful man, an incredible filmmaker, and kind of invited me into his film, and I guess we lucked out, but...
Was it your first time to do a drum machine, or did you use that on Tunnel of Love?
I
remember thinking, Bruce is going to become an electronic artist. That's interesting, I think.
Yeah.
And then you just, more soulfulness next to that machine than, anyone.
Yeah, well, thanks, but it was, it was, movies were so influential for most of my music since I was probably in my mid and late 20s. I really got into film, and it affected everything I wrote after that. That and reading. The huge fan of the film noir. Out of the Past, Double Indemnity, Gun Crazy, all of those things. And Bob's work, of course. Bob's work was, if you were a young man in the mid and late 70s, Bob De Niro was and is. He's still one of my great heroes. The existential angst and the classic classic. He projected the character of America that is existential and isolationist, and in a way that really was just unique in cinema, and is just something. Bobby's here, and I love him very much, and he remains one of my all-time favorite actors.
Bloody Italians.
Yeah, me and my wife we're Sicilian Irish, so you gotta watch that.
Bob's got a strain in there too. We claim everything. It's just the Irish are obnoxious like that. It's like, yeah, we invented whiskey as well. Yeah. The thing of culture being upstream of politics. This is the thing that you don't want it to be true if you're a person elected to high office. But the truth of it is some songs manage to change not just the room that they're recorded in, or the radios, or whatever it is, the streamers they're on, but they can change the atmosphere of a time. And I think in the United States, I was thinking about John Fogerty's work during the Vietnam War, thinking about, Marvin Gaye, or thinking about, these astonishing talents that seem to change things. And I think it's even more extraordinary that you cannot write to order, clearly, and that you've never been a signer. You're not a person who, because I've often tried to get you to sign things, and by signing things I don't mean autographs, I mean petitions, and that if you're involved, you're really involved, and it sort of has to seize you, it's to take you, and you do your work within community, but you don't sign up easily. So for you to go on the road with your extraordinary band and leave your family as you have done, we know how serious you feel, what you're feeling for your country right now, and we are so grateful that somebody has that.
I always work from the inside out, so you're sitting around and I'm just pissed off, and angry, but for the past 50 years I've put together a band that was built for hard times, and built for times like these, and I've put together a body of work that was built for hard times and built for times like these, and I was always sort of singing for the moment and singing towards the moment. I was interested in artists who encapsulated their moment in time. It was what I tried to do with my work, which was basically the second half of the 20th century, the beginning of the 21st, which involved the post-industrialization of America, affected so many people, and so many people did get left behind. But I don't conceive something and then, even the writing, the subjects I picked up as as what I felt like my subjects, which was like blue collar life, or I wrote just because it was my family's life, and I was interested just for my own psychological health, in sorting out their lives, what were the forces that played in their lives. And if you do that long enough, you know, you pray that you have a little impact on the culture, because as you were saying, you know, if art has the chance to shape culture, culture shapes politics, culture and politics shape the nation, and that's the business we're in. You know, that's at the bottom, at the end of the day, that, you know, that is the business that we're in.
And you do love a pop song too. I just, you know, that's what's so great, is that you took your hero Woody Guthrie and got that sensibility onto, you know, pop radio. I remember it's an amazing thing to realize that you've written some great pop songs as well as some great punk songs, protest songs. I tried to get you to give for a Gap commercial, because they were supporting Red, our AIDS emergency thing, and I said, Bruce, this song, Girls in Their Summer Clothes, this is like one of the great pop songs ever. He goes, it's not bad, is it? I said, would you think about using it for a commercial, like for Red through Gap? He said, no.
And that was a big mistake too, because I should have said yes. You know, because it was it's one of the songs. You know, you have these songs that they just become your own personal favorites, but the audience really doesn't care whether they hear them that much or not. And that's one of them. That was just a song that I love that song. And damn it, I still think back. I said, Bob, man, he asked me to put this thing on a commercial on television. I should have fucking done it. Then, you know, people would hear it like a hit, you know. So I have to apologize. I should have done that.
The only man I'll ever call boss. He's standing. The only woman that I'll ever call boss, apart from my missus, the great poet Patti Smith and Tony Shanahan. Can we have them to sing us?
Hey, babe. What are you doing? Come out if you want.
You've been summoned. We've all been summoned. I was dreaming, in my dreaming, well, of an aspect bright and fair. And my sleeping, it was broken, but my dream, it lingered near. In the farm of shining valleys, oh, where the pure air rarefied, and my senses are newly opened, I awakened into the cry that the people have the power to redeem the work of fools. Upon the meek, the graces shower. It's decreed the people rule. People have the power. Deserts, I saw fountains, and like cream, the waters rise. When we stroll there together, we learn to laugh or criticize. When the leopard and the lamb are there together, are truly bound. Well, I was hoping, in my hoping, to be caught. Dreaming, in my dreaming, God knows a pure view as I surrender into my sleeping. I commit my dreams to you. My people have the power to dream. People have the power to vote. People have the power to march. People have the power to love, power to dream, to rule, to wrestle the world from fools. It's decreed the people rule. Well, it's decreed the people rule. Listen, I believe everything we dream can come to pass through our union. The Earth's revolution. We have the power. People have the power. People have the power. People have the power. Don't forget it. Use your voice.
Thank you, Patty. Damn. Thank you, all right. I'll send this out for lovely Pam Belfonte, and my lovely wife, Patty. Grab your ticket and your suitcase. Thunder is rolling down this track. Know where you're going now, but you know you won't be back. Well, darling, if you're weary, lay your head upon my chest. We'll take what we can carry, yeah, and we'll leave the rest. Big wheels roll through fields where sunlight streams. Meet me in a land of hope and dreams. side. You'll need a good companion now. Oh, for this part of the ride. They'll leave behind your sorrows. Let this day be the last, where tomorrow there'll be sunshine. And all this darkness past. Here big wheels roll through fields where sunlight streams. Oh, meet me in a land of hope and dreams. Oh, this train carries saints and sinners. This train carries losers and nervers. This train carries whores and gamblers. This train carries lost souls. I said this train, dreams will not be thwarted on this train. Faith will be rewarded on this train. Hear the steel wheels singing on this train, bells of freedom ringing. Where big wheels roll through fields where sunlight streams. Oh, meet me in the land of hope. Oh, meet me in a land of hope and dreams. Oh, meet me in a land of hope and dreams.